We're all her right now.
Russia that's killing people. If Russia stopped fighting, if Russia wanted to end the war, if Russia stopped fighting, Russia could just stop fighting. There wouldn't be a war. No one would be killed.
And that would be
great.
Hey,
our job done.
Yeah,
why doesn't the West take that to Russia?
Ultimately, maybe that's what the negotiations are.
Which part of Britain would you give away if we were invaded and you wanted to negotiate
none at all.
peace?
None at all.
Oh, so we wouldn't give away any of Britain. But it's okay to give away a bit of Ukraine.
Hang on, it's not us giving it away, Julia. Right? It's Ukraine, and
Ukraine doesn't want to give it away.
Of course it doesn't. But ultimately, as everybody said, it is Zelensky's decision. But ultimately, we've got to stop killing people.
If we were invaded and our close allies in NATO, like the United States, basically supported us for a bit, but gave us just enough support so we could actually not lose, but we'd not enough to win.
Yeah.
And after 3 years, whoever was president of the United States said,
position from which to try and negotiate a solution.
So at which point Donald Trump, says, oh, well, we're going to have a negotiation, but we're going to let the Russians, whoever invaded us, keep part of territory. Just to clarify, just how much of British territory would you be willing to give away in those negotiations?
On Northern Ireland, chap. Ultimately, in Northern Ireland, there was a negotiation to stop the killing. It involved horrendous compromises that lots of people didn't want to make.
We didn't give away territory.
We stopped killing people.
We didn't give away territory.
That's also correct.
We didn't give away territory to an invading force. That's a ridiculous analogy.
No, it's a completely valid analogy.
Sorry, who invaded Northern Ireland?
Wars stop when people stop killing people.
No, wars stop when one side is defeated.
Look.
Sorry, have you heard of the Second World War?
Yes.
Did we negotiate the ending of the Second World War?
Have you heard of there are lots of other wars where ultimately people negotiate a peace. Otherwise, you just carry on. How long are we going to carry on with this?
Falklands.
Yeah, Falklands we won.
Oh, yeah. We didn't just negotiate with Argentina and give them some of the Falklands.
No, but there's plenty of other...
Why not? That would have stopped the war, Richard. Why not?
Look, ultimately, we won that war, but there are other wars where it's a negotiated settlement.
Because it's not our problem. Except it will be our problem when Vladimir Putin thinks he can take any territory of any country in Europe that he darn well pleases.
And that's why the negotiation is about what is the strength of what is put in place to stop him going any further. That's why I've always said...
What's going to stop him going any further? We've just said you can take Crimea, you can take the Donbass.
That's the whole point of the negotiation.
What are they proposing? You know what would stop him from going further? Ukraine security guarantees or NATO membership. What would stop him from going further? Please ask him that question. Please make him say one thing.
Is Ukraine going to join NATO and therefore benefit from the Article 4? Well, that's the point of the negotiation.
Well, there's no negotiation, is it? There's no negotiation. The Secretary of State
clearly don't understand how President Trump works. He starts out in one position. That doesn't mean that's where he settles. The whole point of a negotiation, you set out positions and then you work out where you're going to finish.
You know what you don't do in a negotiation? You set out a position where you've given the other side everything that they want.
And that's not what I suspect.
It's literally what they've done in the last 24 hours.
I completely disagree.
I just thought Reform cared about national borders.
We do absolutely care about national borders and sovereignty.
Not all of them. Okay.
But equally, we don't want to carry on killing people. We're not killing people. But ultimately, somehow, the war has got to stop. It's gone on for 3 years. How long do we keep it going? A decade? 2 decades?
How long would you fight for this country?
Until I'm dead.
Exactly.
How did he not see the contradiction there?
Okay, that's what Ukrainian people would ideally do if they were given support. But that war could have been won a long time ago if we'd given support.
Yeah, but there are lots of Ukrainian people who would like to find a way to end this war, including the president.
Let's not use up all our time on this. I'm disappointed in people who believe in national security.
Trying to explore ways to stop killing people.
Well, tell your big mate Donald Trump to tell his big mate Vladimir Putin to stop killing people. Then we can solve that problem like that.
Like, look at the cult. God, how are they so good at this? We need our cult. We need a cult on the left. They're so good about engaging in all their media circles. Like they must have like some kind of psychic, maybe Neuralink. What's that chip that Elon Musk wants to implant in their brains? Notice how they all get the same marching orders. They all support each other's media. They all support each other's political figures. JD Vance just absolutely roasted the leaders of Europe for being a bunch of sniveling babies when it comes to Elon Musk.
Expressing opinions isn't election interference. Even when people express views outside your own country, and even when those people are very influential. And trust me, I say this with all humor, if American democracy can survive 10 years of Greta Thunberg scolding, you guys can survive a few months of Elon Musk. But what German democracy what no democracy, American, German, or European, will survive is telling millions of voters that their thoughts and concerns, their aspirations, their pleas for relief are invalid or unworthy of even being considered.
This would actually be awesome. Europeans beg J.D. Vance to become president of Europe. What's even the joke? Or the what are they satiring? Or what is the... Ja, I like very much this Mr. J.D. Vance, said German local Franz Krausgross. He wants to stop the immigrations. He is seeming to care much more for Germany than our own leaders. And also, he is such a very handsome boy. Can he be our German leader? Yes, please. Wow. Hilarious. One Italian leader, Leonardo Giovanni, concurred. J.D. Vance, mamma mia, I love this guy. He understands everything, eh? Our leaders, piff, they do a nothing. Niente, niente. But J.D. Vance, he like the gladiator. If he become our president, boom. Bellissimo. But it would be the most amazing thing in a history. I pray to the heavens for this. What a fucking epic and hilarious article. This post gives me hope. You can be the ugliest chud on the planet, but as long as you have Twitter clout, you can bag a GF. I was trying to think of a funny caption to post, but I have nothing really to say apart from Dubai is pretty awesome. I am not the GF. He is my ex-husband's friend. Did Zelensky bomb his own nuclear shelter? Kremlin thinks so. Well, at least he's just saying it directly. Wait, this guy's a troll? It's not even the right profile pic? At Stillgray? Isn't that his Twitter account? Maria Zakharova of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The provocation at Chernobyl NPP is yet another criminal action by the Kiev regime. Each time, in order to lobby for arms supplies money and to give Western media an opportunity to carry out anti-Russian info campaigns, Kiev needs a scary and dangerous performance. Wow. Source, Russian government. Apparently they bombed the new containment, or it got hit by a drone. I don't know if it was intentional, but it got hit by a drone, I guess. The containment thing over the melted down nuclear Chernobyl reactor. It's a Russian account. Nobody uses the word shelter. Oh, sure. I don't think it's a shelter. Oh no. April 5th. I can't even focus, LeMayo. Pictured as Phil, the only guy who builds / does all my PC / monitor / etc. stuff for the past 9 years. He also does it for a large amount of boot campers / pro teams for past decade. He just helped me realize a few of my monitors have been swapped out. for much lower quality ones that he never sold to me. I only buy from him. Wait, damn, that's a sophisticated... They bought cheap monitors and they swapped them with his more expensive monitors? What the fuck? So not only did I have the graphics card incident earlier this year, now this, so crazy, lol. I guess going forward, everything just has to be hyper-checked on the borrowing and at time of return. Don't know what else to do. For context, I have 17 monitors, but all were logged in. 17 monitors for what? Unlike the graphics card incident, this one is going to be pretty impossible to track / narrow down, so congrats, Donk. Whenever you read this, you probably flipped a couple hundred. Had you just asked me for money, if you seemingly needed it so bad, you probably had a higher chance of me giving you more than you made on the flip. He holds boot camps for League players in his house. This guy posted, they're stealing all your shit. Don't let the boot campers know your magic cards for real. Grimace. This is actually the third incident, LOL, of property theft I've experienced in recent years. Had magic cards, not the Lotuses or Alpha stuff, stolen in 2021, but I didn't know until later when I moved and the boxes were empty. Was the SDCC collector boxes basically had the contents taken out and the box put back, LOL. Sorry, just going through what links I have open here. I'd actually just get a second monitor for this computer. I think... Oh, no, never mind. Fuck that. TSMC considers running Intel's U.S. factories after Trump team request. TSMC would take controlling stake in potential partnership. Administration aims to boost manufacturing of advanced chips. Wouldn't that just mean foreign companies are owning...
My puny brain could never live up to the amazing big brain of Elon Musk. Oh, he's such a mega genius. I don't even feel human when I'm near him because he's just so smart. Oh, Elon, can I give you a hand job? Oh.
It is, like, just so fucking pathetic to see grown men, like, it is, like, fuck, he used the word suckfest already. It is. It's so fucking cringe. Thank God. The U.S. Army will no longer allow transgender individuals to join the military and will stop performing or facilitating procedures associated with gender transition for service members. Now let's ban women next. Yes. It's not like recruitment numbers are down on anything. Why is this just coming from the Army? What about the Air Force or the Navy or the Space Force? This was today, 2 days ago. The U.S. Army is elected to protect its trans troops over Donald Trump's bigoted orders to strip them of medical care. The Army put this in writing. Imagine what's happening in private. At this time, do not initiate any medical board or adverse personnel action solely related to transgender status. Policy and implementation guidance related to current executive orders will be published when available. Until further guidance is issued and consistent with the protections of HIPAA and the Privacy Act, do not access or utilize medical and personnel systems of record specifically to identify transgender soldiers. Any soldier currently under medical care for gender dysphoria or transition will continue to receive medical treatment consistent with the standard of care. Has elected to protect its trans troops. Why do we think that? This just sounds like it's waiting for guidance on what to do, unless I'm just reading the implications of this incorrectly. But Do you think Israelis ban trans people from the IDF? I don't know. Are trans people in Israel? Is this LS's account? Selling my Lotus's sealed alpha starter decks. Not pictured as 4 Lotuses, 9.5B plus, 9B plus, blah, 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 PSA 9, going through usual methods, but figured I'd post to Twitter since one deal I did before happened to be here. 2024? In August? Did he sell this? What did he sell it for here? Look at the date. I think this is the thief trying to sell it. February 1st, 2025. Oh. Oh, no. Oh, do you think it is? No shot. I feel like they would get caught so easily, no? Does Jesse know LS from back in the StarCraft days? Yeah, we called him Last Shadow back then, though. He was a pretty wacky dude. But he was also young. You know, we were all wacky dudes back then.
All right, folks. President Trump is making showers great again. And that's the subject of the riff. I can't thank President Trump enough. He's going to make showers great again. For the first time in 4 years, I could take a real shower with the water pounding down on me. Not some puny Biden drizzle. It will be a wonderful feeling. I've missed.
Why does it sound so gay? Am I crazy?
Time in 4 years, I could take a real shower.
Is this intentional?
With the water pounding down on me. Not some puny Biden drizzle. It will be a wonderful feeling. I've missed it. And I believe millions of other people feel the same way. Now, why do I say this? Because this morning at 6:57 a.m., President Trump instructed EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin to go back to Mr. Trump's old environmental orders that were terminated by Biden on water standards and flows.
Oh, my God.
In other words, folks, you can let the water rip, finally, after 4 years of missing it.
Bro, when Europeans come to America and they go into a bathroom for the first time and they flush the toilet and they're like, what the fuck? Bro, Americans do not fuck around when it comes to flushing like fucking 5 gallons of water every time we take a piss. It's actually insane. Why would you roll back? This is like just like this shouldn't even be stuff that makes you mad. Like this is literally, it's literally the quote, like a Republican would shit his pants if he knew that other liberals around him had to smell it. Like, we can probably achieve the same flushing effects by cutting down on the amount of water that we waste. And we can swap out light bulbs for more efficient light bulbs. No! I feel like, wait, I think I watched Trump talk about this. Didn't we watch Trump? The old light bulbs were way better. I think he said this 5 years ago. Oh, man.
And we're doing other things. The light bulb, they got rid of the light bulb that people got used to. The new bulb is many times more expensive. And I hate to say it, it doesn't make you look as good. Of course, being a vain person, that's very important to me. It's like, it gives you an orange look. I don't want an orange look. Has anyone noticed that? So we'll have to change those bulbs at least a couple of rooms where I am in the White House. We have a situation where we're looking very strongly at sinks and showers.
I just even trying to get in touch with you. I am at Misandry is dope. I don't know what that means. Like that's your real name, or you're on Twitter or Instagram, or email me. And
other elements of bathrooms where you turn the faucet on in areas where there's tremendous amounts of water, where the water...
Your studio lights aren't LED, or are they? Of course they are. Why the fuck would you use anything besides LED? Unless you're going for like a particular, what are they called? Incandescent light bulbs? Unless you're going for like a particular effect. Like there are some lamps that look cute on the old, like if you're literally trying to hit a certain effect, you can use these. Although you could probably even get LEDs in these shapes, maybe? I don't know. But why the fuck would I ever... LEDs on film sets suck ass? Is that true? Because the light is harsh as fuck and hurts my eye? Turn it down. What do you mean?
rushes out to sea because you could never handle it.
Because incandescent lighting is more warm and natural? Then turn the temperature down on your LEDs. What are you talking about? Just turn... You can turn the temperature down, and then you can just turn the brightness down. Hello? It's not the same, though? What's different? Explain it to me. What's different? It feels like my house is a department store or a dentist. I fucking hate that light quality. That's because you're buying things in a high color temperature range. You're getting like 5,200 degree lights. You can make it, you can probably just buy warm LEDs. Warm LED light bulbs. Vintage. Oh, are these LEDs? Damn, just buy some shit like this. Are these? I can't tell. Edison bulb, vintage bulb, 40 watt dimmable. Filament Edison light bulb. I think that means they're not LEDs, but you can just buy ones and just make the color warmer. Destiny, you do remember the difference between lux and lumen. What does that have to do with this conversation? The incandescent light is usually omnidirectional and more diffuse. I'm getting trolled right now, right? I'm sorry, what? As opposed to LEDs that are hyperdirectional? What do you mean? Like just... It's true, LEDs emit perpendicular light without a diffuser. It's just straight off the silicon. True. Don't LEDs flicker at 60 hertz? I don't know, they probably flicker at different hertz. Depends on what you get. Why does that matter? What, can you see the flickering of the light? Can your eyeballs, is that like a, are you Neuralinked up? Are you jacked in?
And you don't get any water. You turn on the faucet, you don't get any water. They take a shower and water comes dripping out, just dripping out, very quietly dripping out. People are flushing toilets 10 times, 15 times, as opposed to once. They end up using more water. So EPA is looking at that very strongly, at my suggestion. You go into a new building or a new house or a new home and they have standards. Oh, well, you don't get water. You can't wash your hands practically. There's so little water comes out of the faucet. And the end result is you leave the faucet on and it takes you much longer to wash your hands. You end up using the same amount of water.
LEDs emit diffusely polarized light that interferes with the camera film in parallel directions and can cause big issues. Then get a polarizing lens for the camera. Shut the fuck up. These are not real problems, especially that ordinary people deal with.
So we're looking at very seriously at opening up the standard, and there may be some.
How does the EPA have anything to do with this? Is it not to do with the pump you have in your house? I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong here. I think it's either I don't know if it's a federal thing or it might be a state thing, but you have to you can't have certain shower heads that emit too much water or something. Like I think there's regulations on that. But some people will put like multiple shower heads, and when you turn it on, you're using like gallons and gallons and gallons of water, and it's probably wasteful and maybe not good depending on where you live, but
some areas where we'll go the other route, desert areas, but for the most part, you have many states where they have so much water that it comes down. It's called rain, that they don't know what to do with it. So we're going to be opening up that, I believe, and we're looking at changing the standards very soon.
wow. Okay. The fuck is this?
I've been reading about World War I, and something isn't adding up. The war should have ended by 1916, but then, out of nowhere...
I'm good.
He's, in your view, showing strength.
Well, there are Chamberlains in every generation.
Oh, here we go.
And this is appeasement. This is direct
So, George,
appeasement
how
of an
do you
aggressor,
end the
of
war in
someone
Ukraine?
just a moment. This is direct appeasement of someone who has moved into a sovereign country, seized its territory, sought to seize the entire country, and it's as if, he'd come to the UK, he'd occupied Kent, Surrey, Sussex, and then somebody else like Donald Trump comes along and says, yeah, fine, guys, just live with that, no trouble at all. These people who go on and on about sovereignty, say they're the defenders of sovereignty. When it actually comes to the crunch, they will sell anyone down the river.
So, George, sorry, yeah. And he's
Damn.
All right, I got everything here. I got the Cyclone F series, Hyperjet Flow, Stockholm Superstream, you name it.
What do you recommend?
Now, what are you looking for? Power, man. Power.
Like Silkwood.
That's for radiation.
That's right.
Now, what is this? That's the Commando 450. I don't sell that one. What about this?
No, that's what we want. It's a Commando 450.
No, believe me. It's only used in the circus. It's for elephants.
Just give it to us.
We'll pay anything. We've got that. What about James?
He couldn't handle that. He's delicate. Oh, yeah.
Epic. Amazing. Setting up a reptile and letting him borrow a PC, and then we realize the PC I lent out to a boot camper before has the graphics card / processor removed and gone. Never bothered to check PCs before upon getting them back, but holy shit, this is insane. I can only blame myself here. Not the first time boot campers have stolen from me. Had my SDCC 2016, 17, 18 MTG collectible set stolen in 2021. There will definitely come a point where I just stop helping people after everything over the years. Jesus. Why, first of all, why are people stealing so much shit from this guy when he's just trying to help people out? That seems fucking evil. But secondly, props to PC gamers, who I think have apparently gotten way more intelligent, because back in my day of pro gaming, a fucking pro gamer was too retarded to even know what the fuck the graphics card was, and never would have stolen a graphics card or a processor because they'd be too retarded to take them out. So, good job. Just got married. Homosexuality was a phase. She is a beautiful angel, Tim. Easy to see how she ungayed you. The new Secretary of Health and Human Services. Okay, these are just... Is this really... Do we care? This is a joke. Who cares? Unreal. DOGE posted National Recon Office headcounts. NRO budgets and headcounts are classified to prevent adversaries from using them to extrapolate our intelligence priorities. Stop giving kids who don't know what the fuck they're doing access to this shit. Oof. Really? Going band for band with a rival. Wait, I don't even know who this is. Fuck. No, I know the RGB photo. I just don't know what he's saying here. Who's this photo? Frida Kahlo. Okay. She was a Mexican painter known for her many portraits, self-portraits, and works inspired by the nature and artifacts of Mexico. Thank you. Update. Judge Chutkan has called a 4 p.m. hearing on the lawsuit over Elon Musk's authority to run DOGE. The parties are hereby ordered to appear for a hearing on February 14th, 2025 at 4 p.m. in courtroom 9, in person or VTC via Zoom before Judge Tanya S. Chutkan. The parties should be prepared to answer factual questions and set an expedited briefing schedule on plaintiff's motion for a temporary restraining order. The court will provide access for the public to telephonically, is that a word? Attend the hearing. The hearing can be accessed by dialing the toll-free number, blah, blah, blah. It is hereby ordered that the attendees using the public access telephone line shall adhere to the following. Persons remotely accessing court proceedings are reminded of the general prohibition against photographing, recording, and rebroadcasting any court proceedings, including those held by telephone or video conference. Violations of these prohibitions may result in sanctions, including removal of court-issued media credentials, restricted entry to future hearings, denial, blah, blah, blah. Which case is this one about? State of New Mexico et al. V. Musk. Complaint for declaratory and injunctive relief against all defendants. Elon Musk in his official capacity. U.S. DOGE service. Filed by the state of New Mexico. Okay, this is just to say DOGE shouldn't exist, basically, or... Oh, yeah, these are all the states. New Mexico, Arizona, Michigan, California, Connecticut, Hawaii, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Nevada, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, Washington. What are they, I'm curious how they have, do the states have standing against the president doing weird shit in the executive? I have no idea. I would imagine they wouldn't, but I don't know what they're... Let's see. The court has jurisdiction. It may grant declaratory injunctive and other relief pursuant to blah, blah, blah. An actual controversy exists between the parties. Venue is proper in the District of Columbia under this. Defendants organization. Okay, plaintiffs. Okay, that's the states. Defendants, legal framework. Constitution creates a deliberate and ordered process for the exercise of significant authority over the nation's laws, its purse, its people. President has the authority to recommend to Congress such measures or such powers. Likewise, it's the president making unilateral changes to existing laws. The Appointments Clause, a pillar of basic constitutional structure and serves as a vital framework. The Appointments Clause provides that the president shall nominate and bind with the advice and consent of the Senate, shall appoint ambassadors and other public ministers and consuls, judges of the Supreme Court, and all other officers of the United States whose appointments are not herein likewise provided for. Okay. Appointments Clause is among the constitutional significant structural safeguards of the constitutional scheme because it prevents one branch from aggrandizing its power. Serves twin purposes of transparency and accountability. Precedent interpreting the Appointments Clause between two types of officers, inferior officers, and would have become known as principal or non-inferior officers. Restream the hearing? I don't want to get fucking in trouble. So X. What is the harm? I'm just trying to think, what is the harm they're alleging? And what is the remedy they're looking for? Like, that gives them standing in this. So limit access to the federal governments and reports and some... Through the Fork in the Road initiative, Mr. Musk is committed to severance packages for eliminating agency regulations, directing actions, acting as principal officer, unsupervised by heads of departments. Okay, defendants' actions have harmed the plaintiff states and will continue to harm them unless enjoined. Judicial review of an Appointments Clause claim will proceed even where any possible injury is radically attenuated. A litigant need not show direct harm or prejudice caused by an Appointments Clause violation. Such harm is presumed. Here, however, Mr. Musk's unlawful assault on the federal government has directly harmed the plaintiff states. Because of lack of dollars being distributed, federal government disperses billions of dollars directly to the states to support law enforcement, for them to use their unlawful control of federal agencies to stop many such payments. For example, defendants have halted payments from USA to public universities. Okay, huh. Unauthorized access to and disclosure of the state's private data. Plaintiff states have a proprietary interest in maintaining the privacy and security of their financial and banking information that they have transmitted to federal agencies. Oh, okay. Plaintiff's state's bank account information and other sensitive financial data, such as taxpayer identification numbers, financial account numbers, are stored at the Bureau of the Fiscal Services, payments systems within the Treasury, unauthorized access to state. Financial data jeopardizes the privacy and security of the state. Okay, interesting. And then, is this in D.C.? So that means that that meeting should have already happened, right? At 4 p.m. in courtroom 9 in person. Did this already happen then? Destiny, the judge is not going for it. Happening now, Judge Chutkin is holding a hearing on state AG's efforts to stop Elon Musk and DOGE's entire government operation. Lawyer from Minnesota says Musk is a literal wrecking ball. Chutkin is skeptical of urgency of an immediate restraining order. Chutkin is not buying the demand for extraordinary emergency relief. The states might have a case, she says, but not necessarily for an immediate restraining order. The states say Musk likes to work the weekend, so he might cause harm this weekend. Chutkin says that's not enough. Chutkin's main issue is the breadth of what states are asking for. She says she understands states' concerns given the unpredictability and pace of DOGE's actions, but a tear against Musk and everything he does seems too broad, she says. Hearing over, Chutkin says, I will rule in due course. Huh, okay. Asking for temporary restraining orders, I believe, are the highest and most like emergency form of pre-trial like relief I think that you can give somebody. So your argument has to be very, very good. You have to have a high likelihood of success on the merits, and then the TRO has to be to prevent injury that could never be like made whole again. Basically, you're going to suffer irreparable harm, and you're likely to succeed. High likelihood of succeeding on the merits of the case. So just because a TRO is blocked doesn't mean that the case would be fucked, or that they couldn't get an injunction, preliminary injunction, or whatever. So who knows? I don't know what the judge thinks about that, but.
Tried it, then they stopped. That wasn't. They have many different things of hatred. Actually, Elon called me. He said, "You know, they're trying to drive us apart." I said, "Absolutely." No, they said, "We have breaking news. Donald Trump has ceded control of the presidency to Elon Musk. President Musk will be attending a cabinet meeting tonight at 8 o'clock." And I say, It's just so obvious. They're so bad at it. I used to think they were good at it. They're actually bad at it, because if they were good at it, I'd never be president. Because I think nobody in history has ever gotten more bad publicity than me. I could do the greatest things. I get 98% bad publicity. I could do, outside of you and a few of your very...
He gets dick ridden by everybody in the media. It's so crazy how he can cry and bitch and moan while getting favorable coverage from basically the entire fucking media landscape.
Good friends. Right. It's like the craziest thing. But you know what I have learned, Elon? The people are smart. They get it.
Yeah, they do, actually.
They get it. They really see what's happening.
Yes.
Okay, that solves that problem.
So will the Department of Education have to handle that?
Yes, it'll go through the Department of Education. Okay?
President Trump signs executive order cutting all federal funding to schools that mandate the COVID vaccine. Talk about the ultimate cuck position. The vaccine that he wanted to take credit for, that he warp sped, that he wanted his audience to like, but they wouldn't because he pumped them so full of fucking conspiratorial nonsense that now he has to sign an executive order basically trying to kill his vaccine. Oh my God. Also, there are no schools that require the COVID vaccine, so it applies to nothing. Is that true?
In other words, folks, you can let the water rip Finally, after 4 years of missing it. And not just a great shower, but in the sink, too. You can really wash your face, get a better shave. Wash your hands as often as you want with real, strong, live water flow. Not like...
I don't know if I've ever been in a bathroom, unless like the faucet is literally broken, where I felt like, oh my God, there's just not enough water.
Some third world countries I know, or even Europe, when hardly anybody washes. And toilets can flush the way they're supposed to. With just a flick of the handle, everything is solved. And your dishwasher will actually clean the dishes because it will have a strong water flow and get the job done. And ditto for your clothes, where Trump washing machines will get all those stains out that you could never do with Biden's little puny water trickle. And you can read again because President Trump is going back to common sense standards on incandescent light bulbs. Instead of Biden's phony fluorescent hospital-type light bulbs that ruined your eyes and gave you a headache every night when you tried to read yourself to sleep. Now, I look forward to a return to reading great books like The Art of the Deal, Think Like a Billionaire, Time to Get Tough, Why We Want You to Be Rich, and so on and so forth. All so inspiring. And for me, by the way, that includes James Lee Burke and Detective Robichaux and John Sanford and his Detective Davenport, Lucas Davenport. What a wonderful prospect each evening. Take a good shower, read a good book, sleep soundly, and wake up fresh the next morning to a golden era of peace through strength.
Wow.
Just think of it.
COVID-19 vaccine requirements for childcare and school K through 12. Nice. As of May 2024, no state required COVID-19 vaccine for any grade level. Good one, Trump. Measles outbreak in under-vaccinated Texas area doubles again. The outbreak now spans 4 counties. A measles outbreak in an area of Texas with abysmal vaccination rates continues to mushroom, with cases doubling since Tuesday and expanding into additional counties. A week ago, officials reported 9 confirmed cases in Gaines County, at the border of New Mexico, which has one of the lowest vaccination rates among kindergartners in the state, at just about 82%. Damn. So 1 in 5 parents said, no, don't vaccinate my kid against the measles? What other vaccines are you refusing at that point? Does that come with the MMR, the measles, mumps, rubella one, or is there a different one? Was measles completely eliminated from the United States at one point in time, or am I making that up? 0 measles cases, United States. Measles was declared eliminated in the U.S. in the year 2000. As of February 6th, a total of, it's a week ago, 14 measles cases were reported in 5 jurisdictions: Alaska, Georgia, New York City, Rhode Island, and Texas. Gaines now reports 42 cases. There's 1 case reported in Lynn County in the Northeast, which is a 91% vaccination rate. Terry County, with a vaccination rate of 94%, reports 3 cases. And Yoakum County, with a vaccination rate of 92.5%, reports 2 cases. As before, all cases are in unvaccinated people or people with unknown vaccination status. Of the 48 cases, 42 are in children, including 13 between the ages of 0 and 4. 13 people have been hospitalized. Measles is one of the most infectious known diseases. The virus spreads through the air and can linger in the airspace of a room for up to 2 hours after an infected person has left. 9 out of 10 unvaccinated people exposed to the virus will fall ill. Jesus Christ.
On January 20...
What the fuck is this? I received a cease and desist from Daniel Green.
He asked me his own lawyer.
Do I care about this? Booktube guy?
Test!
Yes, my school shooter joke actually got me in legal trouble.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Yes, I got some new equipment. I don't know if you can tell, but I got a new camera that's really fancy dancing.
I don't think I care about this either. Okay. All right, these two. Let me use the restroom real quick and soy the fuck up. 1 sec. Ugh. I had somebody email me telling me that they got this fork in the road email. And they felt like the fork in the road email that he sent was like supposed to refer to the fucking meme.
Federal employees received a weird email with the subject line "fork in the road." It advised employees that if you choose to remain in your current position, we thank you for your renewed focus on serving the American people to the best of your abilities and look forward to working together as—
What meme? The fork in the road meme. This meme.
part of an improved federal workforce. Aw, that's really nice. But the email told employees that they could look forward to, quote, return to in-person work 5 days a week, forced relocations, and higher performance standards. The government then offered everyone the opportunity to resign. Quote, if you resign under this program, you will retain all pay and benefits regardless of your daily workload and will be exempted from all applicable in-person work requirements until September 30th, 2025, or earlier if you choose to accelerate your resignation for any reason. Responses to the email ranged from confused to the spoon emoji, look that one up, or to, quote, they may take our telework, but they'll never take our freedom. And federal employees generally refused to believe the fork in the road email was real and not an elaborate phishing attack. So the OPM recalibrated and sent out a second email answering frequently asked questions such as, can I take an extended vacation while on administrative leave? The answer was, quote, you are most welcome, stay at home and relax, or to travel to your dream destination, whatever you would like. But understandably, the grammatical errors only reinforced the perception that this was a fake email probably written by ChatGPT. This prompted the OPM team to send a third email the next day with subject line, no really, the fork in the road email is real, it's an actual government communication, not Nigeria, we swear. Followed by, quote, guys, these emails are not phishing attacks, these are genuine emails from your very real bosses. You can actually respond to them. Feel free to send us your social security number and banking records. We will only use that information for your benefit. Surprisingly, that didn't do the trick either. So on day 4, the OPM sent an email with the subject line, no work, full pay, and said, hello, we are government. Want to retire early? Click yes now. So on day 5, the OPM decided to change tack by sending an email with a subject line that read, fire emoji, hot jobs in your area, fire emoji. But federal employees were still skeptical. So
wait, I can't tell if this is, I don't know the world that I live in right now. Were these actually emails sent out, or is this like a bit that Legal is doing right now? I could totally see it being either one.
The OPM responded with a final plea with the subject line, we are trying to reach you about your job's extended warranty. Surprisingly, uptake was not what they expected. Okay, so those last few were—
This one's a bit.
Not real emails,
okay.
But it's still hard to believe that any of these emails were real in the first place. We truly are in the worst timeline. Now, to talk about this complete cluster is chaos lawyer Liz Dye.
Thanks, Devin. On November 12th, just a week after winning the election, Donald Trump announced that the great Elon Musk, working in conjunction with American patriot Vivek Ramaswamy, will lead the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Get it? He's naming a government department after—
Quote, hot jobs in your area, end quote. Yeah, you're trying to make it sound like that's an impossible email, that I should never expect that. DOGE! Come on!
Crypto meme coin? Yeah, no wonder that dog looks so disappointed. Trump described it as potentially the Manhattan Project of our time and promised that DOGE would drive out the massive waste and fraud which exists throughout our annual $6.5 trillion of government spending. DOGE's first act of efficiency was to cut Ramaswamy, who was sent packing with instructions to go run for governor of Ohio or something. As originally conceived, DOGE would provide advice and guidance from outside of government, and maybe that was a head fake, or maybe the plan was reconfigured post-election to avoid open records laws. Recent reporting by 404 Media suggests that Musk is maneuvering DOGE to avoid freedom of information laws so that no one will be able to see what he's doing. But whatever the reason, on the day of Trump's inauguration, he signed an executive order renaming the United States Digital Service as the Department of Government Efficiency and essentially replacing it with Musk and his minions. Previously, the Digital Service had worked to improve user interface on government websites. As DOGE, it's become a vehicle for Musk to do to the United States government what he did to Twitter. But the federal government is not a private company, and so Musk has run into 100 or 200 wee tiny legal issues. On October 26, 2022, Elon Musk, the new owner of Twitter, strutted into the company's headquarters carrying a plumbing fixture. Get it? Let that sink in. Among Musk's first actions was to send an email to Twitter employees with the subject line, a fork in the road, instructing them that going forward to build a breakthrough Twitter 2.0 and succeed in an increasingly competitive world, we will need to be extremely hardcore. This will mean working long hours at high intensity. Only exceptional performance will constitute a passing grade. The email instructed employees to click on a link if they were down to be extremely hardcore. If not, they would be deemed terminated within 24 hours and given 3 months severance pay. Within a year of Musk's takeover, Twitter's workforce had been cut by 80%, and the value of the company declined by roughly the same percentage. As the Grand Vizier of DOGE, Musk is hoping to do the same thing for the federal government. On January 28th, the Office of Personnel Management, essentially the HR department for the executive branch, sent an email with the subject line, fork in the road, to roughly 2.3 million government employees. The email invited them to tender their resignations, and although it made no reference to requiring federal bureaucrats to be extremely hardcore, the implication was clear. And in case it wasn't, Musk pinned a fork in the road tweet to his profile. The email cited an executive order Trump signed on his first day in office mandating a return to 5 days of in-person work for all government employees. And it referred to, quote, meaningful consolidation and divestitures potentially resulting in physical office relocations for a number of federal workers. Translation, we're cutting staff and you better get out while the getting is good. If you're lucky, you'll find yourself transferred from Baltimore, Maryland to Butte, Montana. And if you're unlucky, we're going to fire you anyway.
Sorry to interrupt, Liz, but if you're going to try to fire the entire federal workforce, you're probably going to want a good workers' compensation lawyer. But if you want a great lawyer, let my law firm, the Eagle Team, help. If you need a workers' comp lawyer, if you've gotten in a car crash, or if you've suffered a data breach, especially if you got one of those data breach letters saying that your information might have been leaked, we can represent you or help find you the right attorney. It's so important to talk to a lawyer right away so you can maximize your recovery. And by the way, we don't get paid unless you do, so there's nothing up front. So just click on the link in the description or call the phone number that's on screen right now for a free consultation with my team. Because you don't just need a legal team, you need the Eagle Team.
The email warned of a new performance culture designed to reward and promote those that exceed expectations and address in a fair and open way those who do not meet the high standards which the taxpayers of this country have a right to demand. In case that was too subtle, it said that the majority of federal agencies are likely to be downsized through restructurings, realignments, and reductions in force. And to drive the point home even further, it warned that employees needed to be loyal and promised enhanced standards of suitability and conduct as we move forward.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
Then, having told all these employees that they were likely to be kicked to the curb, the email went on to offer the opportunity to resign in advance with a departure date of September 30th and then work from home, or not, while collecting full pay for 7 months. All they had to do was send an email with the subject line resign from their government email accounts by February 6th. The fork in the road email linked to an FAQ that painted a rosy picture of the paradise awaiting federal employees who would just click resign and clean out their desks. They wouldn't have to work at all during the 7-month period. They could go on vacation, spend time with the kids, or just sit home and watch Netflix in their underwear. Or they could go out and get another job. In fact, the FAQ encouraged them to promote American prosperity by, quote, moving from lower productivity jobs in the public sector to higher productivity jobs in the private sector. Lord grant us all the confidence of a Silicon Valley tech bro telling millions of career government employees to go do something productive with their lives in the private sector.
Do you think it's possible DOGE ends up costing the government more money in the long run when the judges make them rehire all these people with back pain shit? Possibly, yeah. He's like this, like type. Sorry, Dan. This type of like just obliterating of a company. Something to it feels like you're running a startup. Like, okay, well, we've been successful for a year. Let's like cut 50% of the employees and see how it goes. Like, I would be surprised if this type of behavior happened with like AWS or with like Google, like mission critical, infrastructure or hardware, or whatever. Like, it just seems like a startup mentality, or like a private equity. Like, we just bought some company that was bankrupt and now we're going to cut 50% of the workforce and we'll see what works afterwards, rather than like it's the government and we can't really afford for it to massively fail,
Productivity jobs in the private sector. Lord grant us all the confidence of a Silicon
Do you believe Elon Musk actually has an IQ of 160? No, it's 105 tops.
Valley tech bro telling millions of career government employees to go do something productive with their lives in the private sector. As at Twitter, that fork in the road email prompted some questions, particularly since most federal employees enjoy civil service protections and belong to unions, which might make them difficult to fire immediately and without cause. So a member of Musk's entourage named Stephanie Holmes showed up at DOGE and announced herself to be the new HR rep for the agency. In a meeting which immediately leaked to Wired magazine, she told the confused staffers that we believe the offer is lawful, and she promised to circle back on the actual agreement to be signed if federal employees took DOGE up on it. The FAQ yada-yada'd over the issue of a binding agreement, instructing employees to sign away their rights in a binding contract and then wait for the agency to execute paperwork reflecting all the terms. Holmes said, I think the information you're going to have about this is available to you right now, and again, you're just going to have to make a personal decision based on the information that's available to you right now. That's not super reassuring if you're being asked to quit your job based on a vague email and a handful of magic beans. And when the promised contract finally appeared, it failed to put those fears to rest. Or, as the National Labor Relations Board union put it, the contract appears to be drafted by AI or LegalZoom. And when a lawyer tells you that your contract looks like it was drafted by AI, they do not mean that as a compliment. The February 4th memo from Acting Director of OPM Charles Ezell purported to explain why concerns regarding the program's legality are misplaced and offer clarifying guidance on certain aspects of the plan. The memo shrugged off federal conflict of interest laws, which would normally prevent government employees from getting a job in the same sector while on Uncle Sam's payroll. Ezell promised that it was fine, really, because if you take them up on the offer, you'll be on administrative leave, so there won't be any conflict. That's cool, bro, except that the contract doesn't guarantee that any employee who accepts the deferred resignation will actually be on leave. It says employees shall not be expected to work during the deferred resignation period except in rare circumstances as determined by the agency. What's rare? I don't know, but it sure sounds like your boss can call you back into service at any time. A lawsuit filed by 4 federal labor unions representing 800,000 government employees highlighted some other problems with this offer. First of all, the executive branch can only spend money appropriated for it by Congress. The OPM buyout pinky promises to continue paying the employees who accept it through September, but the current budget expires on March 14th, which means that OPM is making a contract to spend money it does not have. And that violates something called the Anti-Deficiency Act, which says that the executive branch cannot enter into a contract or obligation for payment of money before an appropriation is made unless authorized by law. The OPM buyout offer may also violate the Administrative Procedure Act by adopting an arbitrary deadline of February 6th, forcing millions of government workers to make a serious life decision within a week under threat of being fired if they choose wrong. Other critics suggest that the OPM contract violates 5 U.S.C. Section 6329A, which provides that, during any calendar year, an agency may place an employee in administrative leave for a period of not more than a total of 10 work days. OPM says employees will be on admin leave from March 1 to September 30th. Under Section 3523, voluntary separation payments, that is, employee buyouts, are capped at $25,000, which is less than the 6-month salary OPM is promising to pay these people. And under Section 3522, before any agency, quote, obligates any resources for voluntary separation incentive payments, that is, makes a buyout offer, the head of each agency shall submit to the Office of Personnel Management a plan outlining the intended use of such incentive payments and a proposed organizational chart for the agency once such incentive payments have been completed. These guys just sent an email to 2.3 million government employees and told them to take the deal or get fired. But that's not the worst problem with this contract. Check out paragraph 13. It says, employee forever waives and will not pursue through any judicial, administrative, or other process any action against the agency that is based on, arising from, or related to employee's employment. So by signing this, you give up your right to sue your employer for any violation. If the government takes you off administrative leave and assigns you to an office 500 miles from your house or stops paying you at all, you have zero recourse. But the government can tear the whole thing up at any time, and there's nothing you can do about it. It says, this agreement cannot be rescinded except in the sole discretion of the agency head, which shall not be subject to review at the Merit Systems Protection Board or any other forum, and waives all rights to challenge the resignation before the Merit Systems Protection Board or any other forum. So if you sign this thing and they violate it, you are SOL. And so it's hardly surprising not a lot of people did. In the end, only about 75,000 employees took OPM's offer, about 3% of the people who received the email. Even though a federal judge in Massachusetts extended the deadline to opt in for 4 extra days, the number of takers for this fabulous offer was less than the regular annual rate of attrition for federal employees, which is about 6%. So it looks from the outside like the only people interested were probably on their way out the door already and took a flyer on getting a paid vacation as a parting gift. But marching in and trying to gut the federal workforce wasn't the only parallel to the takeover of Twitter.
Thanks, Liz. As you mentioned, public sector employees unions challenged the buyout in court, and a federal judge originally halted the fork-in-the-road federal buyout program, that's not really a buyout program, from taking effect until someone could figure out what was going on. The court originally stated, quote, in compliance with an order issued today by the District Court of Massachusetts granting a request to stay the deadline for the deferred resignation program. The deadline for federal employees to accept the program is being extended to Monday, February 10th at 11:59 p.m. By that time, about 65,000 employees had accepted the buyout offer, or about 3% of the federal workforce, which seemed to be about in line with just normal attrition rates. But after the hearing on February 10th, Judge O'Toole ruled that the government could move forward with the deferred resignation program. He found that the plaintiffs failed to establish a likelihood of success on the merits, which is a key requirement for injunctive relief, but it was largely on procedural rather than substantive grounds. First, he found that the plaintiffs lacked standing. To establish standing to bring a lawsuit, a plaintiff must demonstrate 3 elements under Article 3 of the Constitution: injury in fact, causation, and redressability. The most important factor there is generally injury in fact, meaning that the plaintiff has to show concrete, particularized, and actual or imminent injury that is not hypothetical or speculative. And in this case, the unions had failed to show standing because they were not directly impacted by the fork-in-the-road directive. While the employees themselves had injuries, the unions would have needed to demonstrate direct harm, such as immediate impacts on their ability to collective bargain or clear unavoidable loss of membership or financial resources tied directly to the directive. But the court observed that with respect to the unions, even, quote, a loss of membership dues to the unions is not certain before the September 30th deadline. But additionally, the district court found that it lacked subject matter jurisdiction because the dispute fell under the Federal Service Labor Management Relations Statute, or FSL-MRS, and the Civil Service Reform Act, or the CSRA, which provide exclusive procedures for resolving federal employment disputes. Quote, according to this complex scheme, disputes must first be administratively exhausted before the employing agency and relevant administrative review board, and any further challenges are properly heard in a court of appeals. The 2 APA claims alleged in this case are the type of challenges Congress intended for review within the statutory scheme, which provides for administrative and judicial review. The court emphasized that administrative review processes must be exhausted before judicial intervention. This is a common process known as exhaustion of administrative remedies. Quote, aggrieved employees can bring claims through the administrative process. That the unions themselves may be foreclosed from this administrative process does not mean the adequate judicial review is lacking. So effectively, there's no decision on the merits in this particular case. That'll have to go through the administrative process first. And the temporary restraining order was dissolved, and the plaintiff's request for further preliminary relief was denied. And that's at least judicially how these things are supposed to work. The TROs are emergency motions to preserve the status quo, and then you move on to the preliminary injunction. Here, the judge felt that there likely was not sufficient standing, so he didn't grant the PI. But the door is open for the employees individually to sue on their own through the administrative process. So likely we haven't heard the last of this particular issue. Now, it's particularly interesting to see how the media is handling this developing story, because ideological bias seems to be telling 2 completely different stories. A whopping 557 sources covered the fork-in-the-road email and the attached not a buyout, with 50% of the reporting coming from the center, 25% from the right, and 25% coming from the left. On the right, sources praised Trump for a masterstroke that will save the US billions by trimming bloated government payrolls, by eliminating lazy civil servants, with headlines on the left framing the move as a cruel joke and the Muskification of the government, while highlighting pleas from Democratic politicians and union leaders for workers to not take the deal. And meanwhile, in the center, the most common word used in the headlines is buyout, which is its own type of bias, which reinforces the belief that the government is a private party or that the government has the power to do what it's doing. The headlines you read first have immense power to shape how you understand the news. And that's why I like to see the news from as many angles as I can, which I can do with the help of today's sponsor,
Ground News.
Ground News is a website and app developed by a former NASA engineer on a mission to give readers an easy, data-driven, objective way to read the news. And right now they're offering Legal Eagle viewers 40% off their unlimited access Vantage subscription. You can scan the QR code or use the link in the description to get a discount for a limited time. Because Ground News gathers related articles from around the world and across the political spectrum, so you can see the bias and compare coverage. Every story comes with a quick visual breakdown of the political bias, factuality, and ownership of the sources reporting, all backed by ratings from 3 independent news monitoring organizations. One of my favorite parts is their bias comparison feature, which highlights specific differences in reporting across the political spectrum. This can be especially helpful in reading stories from sources you've never heard of, where there's no telling who owns it or what agenda they might have. I also love their blind spot feature, which shows you stories that are underreported by either side of the political spectrum, like this recent story that was ignored by right-leaning sources explaining how Trump's lax enforcement of the rules of government are dismantling the guardrails set up to ensure public trust. This type of analysis helps explain why we often talk past each other and why some people seem hyper-focused on what to others seems like nonsense or fake news. But all this is why Ground News is my favorite way to get the news. And as a Legal Eaglet, you can save 40% off the Ground News Vantage subscription by scanning the code on screen or clicking on the link down below. This subscription gives you unlimited access to every feature, including the Bias Insight tool and blind spot feed. And by subscribing, you'll support an independent news platform working to make the media landscape more transparent. So click below or scan the code today. And after that, click on this link over here for more Legal Eagle, or I'll see you in court.
Wow.